Hi there, everybody. I am very pleased to be joined now by Loubna, who is the CEO of OKRA a new and very exciting company that is already doing some really great work in our industry, helping companies to really gain brand new insights and really understand what that next best move is in so many cases for them by using the power of multiple sources of data, of natural language, and of course of artificial intelligence to really enable our companies to do a lot better. And Loubna is a bit of a rising star in the world of AI, not just within her own company, of course, but actually beyond that, doing some work, I believe, at the European level. So Loubna, we are obviously in a difficult situation right now. It's a pandemic, and AI is touted as the technology that is most useful in times of uncertainty. Yet at the same time, we've had difficulties even with non-interoperable data sets in our everyday. So how can we use AI in this kind of situation? How can we actually find a solution here that is more hype and is genuine reality going to be able to help us?
Thank you, Paul, for the intro, and thank you for this very important question. First of all, this pandemic was mentioned by many experts, including the famous TED Talk by Bill Gates, around it will come, but we didn't know when, we didn't know how. And around Christmas time, no one could have predicted. So no human being, no AI could have predicted that. So still, in these uncertain times, AI could be very, very beneficial in many ways. What we saw just in the last 2 weeks, that we achieved a high elevated level of learning, both humans and machines. If we look at what we couldn't achieve for a decade around climate change, around changing the course of our policies, we could achieve in the last 2 weeks. Of course, there's a lot of loss of lives and a lot of things that our healthcare system been tested, our policies have been tested. And yeah, so how can AI can help in this situation? So I believe if we look to the way we do things today, for example, how governments dealt with the situation, they used epidemiological models to predict what policy they should use, right? Mitigation or suppression. Those methods, they make assumptions. They make bold assumptions. And most of the cases in crisis, those assumptions are not always correct. Mostly they will be wrong. So, and then it will lead to decisions that are not always right. What you need in crisis is you need to take decisions that are right, and you need to take them at speed. You don't have the time to get consensus. You don't have the time to think it through. So you need some technology that can help you do that. And AI can help. So how would AI do it? How can AI support governments in this situation? For example, it can start by cross-country learning. If the situation started in China, then we saw in Italy, that data could be leveraged, and an AI system could have learned, detected the patterns of the spread, and then when we see the first case on any country, the AI system could have predict what is the best policy to do. And not just that, with taking the data real-time live of the new cases and the number of deaths, it will adapt and suggest new strategies. So in that way, we have an adaptive way of learning and implementing the right policies. AI could do much more than just the government side. We can do, for example, it can help more on implementing those policies. So, for example, social distancing. We keep telling people stay at home, but they still, struggle because it means a change in behavior. And you could see big differences between what is in Europe and what's in China. And that's a big change, a big difference in culture. So AI can support there really well. For example, we saw in China, Alibaba and another company, they collaborated to create this app that predict or almost score the different persons and give them like a traffic light system around how likely they will have corona from their behavior. This wouldn't happen in Europe because this is against our privacy laws, and it's not working with the way we see AI system will be working. But in this way, I had a data scientist in my team that came back from China and told me, I'm going back. So she thought China is more safer to be than in the UK. She said, I could see in my app what is the different patients and how far they are, and now I lost control. There was a marathon in Cambridge, and she said people just went for a marathon. This is crazy. So can you imagine like the perception? So how AI as a technology already used in China, that you could see all the cases walking and the prediction score if they have corona or not. But of course, there are applications that we can use in Europe. For example, vulnerable mapping. We see what locations are more vulnerable for COVID, and we provide more support there, more on the NHS level, the healthcare system level. So you could see that you can implement, you can, beyond policies, using AI to support policymaking, you can use AI to implement the right policies, such as social distancing, by making people aware where there is more cases, by making them aware where they have high risk, but also supplying and providing the resources using AI that's possible. So yeah, there's different scenarios where AI can help reduce this uncertainty. But what I think this opportunity here is, as I said before, we see people changing behavior. We see that people at this moment realize this is a crisis, we need to do something. And that is an opportunity to bring in technology that would help. We saw with our systems at OKRA, for example, systems that are used by field teams to meet with doctors. At the moment with the crisis, we provide them with the corona flag, that they see that where there is high amount of patients and when there is no opportunity to see doctors, as well as providing them with all the key demographics for the patients there, so that they know what they can talk about. And when you are in your home, will not be able to go and see that real person, having a system that can empower you and give you all the evidence at hand, it makes life much better. So how much uncertainty we can reduce for people right now, the better it is.